Okay, good morning, everybody. I am going to introduce General Taylor back up here to walk you through an operational update, and then when he's done, I have a couple of other things that I'm going to kick off the briefing with, and then we'll get to questions if that's okay. All right, with that, General.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. Once again, I want to provide an operational update, and then, as Mr. Kirby said, we'll follow up with questions. As we know, this continues to evolve the situation, and we continue to strive on the ground, and what we really want to do is continue to provide you details in a timely manner. As you know, recently the Secretary of Defense activated the Stage 1 of the Civil Reserve Air Fleet. Right now, that activation includes 18 aircraft from 6 commercial airlines. This will increase passenger movement from the intermediate staging bases, temporary safe havens, to the United States, while we continue to prioritize military aircraft for the transportation of individuals out of Kabul and out of harm's way. Please note, as I said, these craft flights will not be flying into Kabul. As of this morning, within the last 24 hours, 25 U.S. military C-17s, 3 U.S. military C-130s, and then a combination of 61 charter, commercial, and other military flights departed Kabul. The total passenger count for those flights was approximately 16,000. Of that number, the U.S. military transported just under 11,000 personnel. Our mission remains focused on ensuring a steady flow of evacuees out of Kabul to the intermediate staging bases and safe havens at our installations, continue to rapidly build out capacity as needed to ensure reception and providing humanitarian assistance. The use of temporary safe haven locations across Europe and the Middle East in areas that include U.S. installations in Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Italy, Spain, and Germany. We deeply appreciate the support from these countries. This is truly a testament to the importance of our alliances and our partnerships. In the past 24 hours, 5 flights landed at Dulles International Airport with approximately 1,300 passengers. At this time, 4 military installations, as well as Dulles International, are receiving Afghans as they come into the United States. These installations include Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, Fort Lee, Virginia, Joint Base McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey, and Fort Bliss, Texas. The total number currently at these installations is approximately 1,200, and Northcom continues to build out capacity to ensure they are prepared to receive more flights that will come in the next few days. This is absolutely a worldwide effort which hits several countries, multiple commands, and thousands of service members across the joint force. Over the weekend, the airport in Kabul remains secure. However, as many of you have seen already, CENTCOM released a statement regarding an incident to report as no U.S. casualties or partner force or coalition forces were involved, but regrettably, an Afghan security force member lost his life. As the President referenced last night in his remarks, we are in communication with the Taliban for the establishment and sustainment of several checkpoints to increase throughput and facilitate safe passage for individuals working to gain access to the airport. Today, the number of troops at the airport continues to stand at 5,800. Commanders on the ground continue to actively monitor threats. They are empowered to make the appropriate force protection decisions. As always, U.S. forces retain the inherent right to use force in self-defense. We are using all of our available tools to maintain the highest threat awareness, both in Afghanistan and throughout the globe. While this mission is not without risk, the safety of our personnel, American citizens, and Afghan evacuees at risk is of paramount importance. To wrap up, we continue to make progress in the completion of this mission. Since the end of July, we have relocated approximately 42,000 people. Since the beginning of evacuation operations on August 14th, we've evacuated approximately 37,000. All of this progress stems from the teamwork, professionalism, and dedication of our military, our interagency colleagues, and our allies and partners. We know more hard work remains in the coming days, and we're absolutely prepared to meet that challenge. Thank you.
And just a couple other points I'd like to make. As you all are aware, the FDA approved full licensure of the Pfizer vaccine this morning, and as aware, back in August on the 9th, the Secretary articulated that it was his intent to mandate the COVID-19 vaccines upon FDA licensure or by mid-September to seek a waiver from the President. So now that the Pfizer vaccine has been approved, the Department is prepared to issue updated guidance requiring all service members to be vaccinated. A timeline for vaccination completion will be provided in the coming days. The health of the force is, as always, of our military and our civilian employees, families, and communities is a top priority. So it's important to remind everyone that these efforts ensure the safety of our service members and promote the readiness of our force, not to mention the health and safety of the communities around the country in which we live. A schedule item, Secretary and General Milley will be attending this afternoon the funeral for former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld at Arlington National Cemetery. Mr. Rumsfeld served as the 13th Secretary of Defense as well as the 21st. He also served in the United States Navy in the mid-1950s as a pilot and a flight instructor, and he continued his service as a reservist until 1975 when he became the Secretary of Defense for the first time. On behalf of the Department of Defense, we extend our deep condolences to his family, to his loved ones, and indeed to the country. With that, we'll start taking questions. Bob?
Hey, John. Thank you. On the Pfizer vaccine
Yeah.
and the Secretary's intention to require it, he has not yet made that direction. And did you say there's not yet a deadline for doing that?
What I'm saying, we're preparing now actionable guidance to the force. We're going to move forward, making that vaccine mandatory. We're preparing the guidance to the force right now, and the actual completion date of it. In other words, how fast we want to see it get done. We're working through that guidance right now.
Okay. Can I ask you a question on Afghanistan
Sure.
also? A couple things. One is you've said, I think General Taylor has said a number of times as well, that the military's airlift capacity at the airport was in the neighborhood of 5,000 to 9,000. I see now you've now gone beyond that, at least yesterday.
Yeah.
Can you say what the capacity has grown to? And also, can you explain a little more about the perimeter issue that the General alluded to very briefly when the President yesterday said something to the effect that the perimeter had been moved back significantly
Right.
to facilitate entry?
Right.
Can you explain that?
So a couple things, Bob, on the capacity thing. You're right. We had set a goal of 5,000 to 9,000 a day. Yesterday, we exceeded that. We're not taking anything for granted, Bob. We're taking this day by day. We'd love to see those numbers continue to rise, but we're going to just take it day by day. There's a lot of factors that go into be able to reach that output capacity, to include temporary safe havens that you can bring these individuals to as they complete their screening. And the screening is a big part of that. We have intelligence and law enforcement personnel at these sites making sure that a robust screening is done of these individuals so that nobody comes in the United States that hasn't been screened in a robust manner. And so there's lots of factors that affect throughput. We were very glad to see that we were able to get that number out yesterday, but we're going to take it day by day. Day by day.
So the number of aircraft that are available at Baines?
I think you briefed the number of aircraft was like 20.
That was the craft.
Yeah. No. But I mean, the same number of aircraft are about available on any given day. I mean, we can get up to, on a given day, you can get up to about 30 C-17s. That doesn't mean that 30 are going to fly every day. And we were under that yesterday and still was able to get out, we're still able to get out more than 10,000.
And then the perimeter question?
The perimeter question, and I think the general addressed this a little bit in his opening statement. Without getting into tactical details here, Bob, and I think you can understand why we wouldn't do that. We are very interested in making sure that access to the airport remains as fluid as possible, particularly for American citizens trying to get in, as well as our special immigrant visa applicants. And there's a lot of factors that go into making sure that access remains secure and that we can facilitate it. And what the president was referring to was efforts to improve that access from a geographical space out beyond just the perimeter of the airfield. And I won't speak to the details of how we're managing that, but you can imagine thus far and going forward, it does require constant coordination and deconfliction with the Taliban. Yeah, it absolutely is going. It's absolutely requiring of us to keep these lines of communication with the Taliban open, who do have checkpoints out beyond the airport. And what we have seen is that this coordination has worked well. This deconfliction has worked well in terms of allowing access and flow to continue, as well as reducing the overall size of the crowds just outside the airport. And those crowds have been a factor, Bob. You heard me talk about this the other night when, several days ago, one of our commanders used a helicopter to bring people in, and it was largely because of the crowd size outside the Abbey Gate. So crowd size matters here too, and that's what the president was referring to. Sylvie.
I have two questions. I would like to go back to the incident. Can you be a little bit more specific and tell us if you can rule out that the attackers were Taliban first? And I would like also to go back to the deadline. The French foreign minister said today that it's, quote, necessary to continue the Afghan evacuations beyond August 31st.
Cannot rule out who the hostile actor was in this shooting incident last night. I think, as you saw, Central Command statement referred to it as a hostile actor. We don't know more than that. And this just happened, Sylvie, so I don't know when we'll have more forensics on this. Again, our focus was on making sure that we could maintain security at the airport. It was maintained. Sadly, it resulted in the loss of a life of one Afghan soldier and wounded